Our president of TechTalk ToastMasters Club, Das.
Thank you, Jamie. Hello, young friends. How are you all doing?
Good. How are you?
Thank you for inviting us to come here and talk to you about ToastMasters. Fortunately, ToastMasters programs are available in different languages, including Mandarin Chinese. So if you want to practice that language, our manuals are available in Chinese also. What I have in mind, everybody got an agenda, it looks something like this, blue, and 2 lines here. Going over the agenda, let me tell you what's going to happen this morning. I'm going to give a short presentation, 5 to 7, maybe 5 to 9 minutes. The introduction of ToastMasters. What is ToastMasters, how it works, and what benefits you are going to get. And then we'll run a short demonstration meeting. ToastMasters program is available only to adults, 18 plus. So in order to join, learn from the ToastMasters regular program, you have to join a nearby club. There are about 70 or 80 clubs in bigger metropolitan area. So for the adults, for the parents, and anyone over 18, if you are interested in benefiting from ToastMasters program, ToastMasters program is basically a communication and leadership development program. Communication and leadership. You can stand up before a group and talk effectively. How you can organize things and get things moving for your community or for your group. Those are the part of our communication and leadership training program. And that program, the main program, is available through clubs. You cannot buy those manuals. So for the parents, for the adults, if you are interested, however, over the last 25, 30 years, ToastMasters found that there are young friends, children under 18, high school students, or maybe middle school students. They also need some training in communication and leadership areas. And they have come up with a program. We call that Youth Leadership Program. Towards the end of our meeting, we have our club members who will be introducing that program to you. Before that, I'd like to mention or recognize some of the folks who are here. You already met Prasad Joshi. He is our Area 73 Director of ToastMasters. I am a member of TechTalk ToastMasters that meets over at NETAP of Kid Creek and 55. And our Vice President Education is Brenda. And your principal, Jamie Yu, she just completed our competent communication training. She is an active member of our. We also have a new member who is going to talk to you why I joined ToastMasters, Jonathan Farber. A very experienced member, Robbie Hemmings, a soccer player also. And then I have someone whom I call Mr. Toastmaster. He is the epitome of Toastmasters. And he is willing to offer you the youth leadership program. Lindsay, how many? And from our club, we have a very experienced speaker, eloquent speaker. And he'll be doing something in our demonstration meeting. Mike Lizanti. So quickly I will try to, first I'm going to tell you about ToastMasters itself, the program that is meant for the adults. That's okay with you? Because other programs are somewhat condensed version of the main program. So I'll tell you the main program first, taking me about 5 to 7 minutes. Then we'll run the demo. Then Nancy will come in and tell you all about youth leadership program, and then we'll open the floor for question and answers. It should be over in about an hour. Everybody is okay? Ready to learn more about ToastMasters? All right, what is ToastMasters? Designed for everyone to benefit, for everyone to develop their communication and leadership. So the first slide is going to summarize what we can get from ToastMasters. ToastMasters International, we claim ourselves that we are the world leader in developing communication and leadership among all the people of the world. Think about 7 million people developing their communication and leadership skills. And we are here for that, to help everyone become better speaker and better leader. Second bullet, it is our mission, ToastMasters International. We like to empower every one of you to become better speaker and better leader. You'll be doing it yourself. There is no instructor. You'll train yourself to be better speaker and better leader. Probably just provide the environment and provide some guidance and some feedback. We call this program, I already mentioned, communication and leadership. You can call it C&L, communication and leadership program. And it is open only to adults 18 plus. However, as I mentioned, for the younger folks under 18, we have additional programs, leadership. And after you complete your leadership program, you may form your own club, which is called Gaggle clubs, for people under 18 or 18 plus people who are not employed. If you're employed, you'll have to go to the regular club. Next one. Just a quick overview. More than 100 years ago, a young college graduate by the name of Ralph Smedley, he was the PP Vice President Education over at YMCA in Bloomington, Illinois, not Indiana. There he wanted to help the high school graduates to stand up before a group and speak their mind. And that's how it all started. It got several people, and the group was becoming very efficient in speaking. However, Dr. Smedley was transferred to St. Louis. In St. Louis, he also started the same group. Young adults were trained. But he was transferred to another place. Finally, in the late 1910, from 1918 or so, he was transferred to California in Santa Ana, YMCA. There, in the year 1924, September 22nd, he officially formed the ToastMasters Club. That was attended by high school teachers, college professors, lawyers, businessmen, all 30 of them wearing suit and tie. And they had dinner and meeting. That was the beginning of the ToastMasters. There is a picture of young Smedley. I just saw it a couple of days ago. Next one, please. And we were all familiar with that Ralph Smedley in the 60s, 50s, when he was writing all the manuals for ToastMasters. He single-handedly formed the manuals. So the fact I mentioned, the ToastMasters International was formed in 1924, and now we have ToastMasters clubs all over the world, in 142 countries. We have about 345,000 active members. About 5 million people have taken benefits of ToastMasters. There are about 16,000 clubs all over the world. So wherever you go, you will find a ToastMasters club, very popular in Asia. China is leading, India, in Far East. There are plenty of ToastMasters clubs all over. How it works? It basically learn, you have to undertake some projects. For example, when you join ToastMasters Club, you get 2 manuals. Everything that you do in ToastMasters, you need to have some manuals. Even in the youth leadership program, you'll have some manuals. Okay? So one is called communication manual. It has 10 speeches. The first one is very simple. 4 to 6 minute speech, you tell about yourself. We call it icebreaker. Then you keep on building, and there are 10 speeches. When you complete all those 10, you get a certificate. We call competent communication certificate. The club is run by members. So you could do some leadership or management things in the club. And this manual is for leadership development. Okay, so we'll work on both manuals at the same time. Next one, please. Meeting rules, you have to do things in your club environment. You'll be giving speeches and impromptu speech. We'll have some of those. So get yourself ready, we'll be asking you some questions. And you'll be standing up and speak your mind in our demonstration meeting. Volunteer leadership roles, you'll get plenty of those. And as I mentioned, there is no instructor. We are the teachers, we are the taught. So you teach yourself basically. I mentioned that a communication program, when you start to see, this is the competent communication, and this is the competent leadership, 2 manuals I showed you. When you join, you work on those 2. After you complete, there are plenty of additional opportunities to further enhance your communication and leadership skills. There are about 4 and 4 milestones. When you complete all that, you get what we call distinguished ToastMaster. What you learn from the communication track, you organize your speech, develop eye contact, gesture and body language, try to carry your message, use some humor, and delivery. The message needs to have a very powerful delivery. All those things we practice in our regular ToastMasters meeting and also in youth leadership. And some of the additional things I mentioned in running the business of the ToastMaster Club, we develop our leadership. What are the values? As our founder says, this is the only program in the world, ToastMasters, that is dedicated to the needs of individuals. We develop individuals to become better speaker and better leader. These are the benefits. You develop your critical thinking. Listening skill, that's very important in ToastMasters. We listen what you are saying, then I'll provide some feedback. What I liked and how you can improve them. And this is the unique program of ToastMasters. We call that feedback. Feedback we get from one another whenever you present a project. And obviously, when you are standing before a group, give a few speeches, you will be confident and speak authoritatively for your subject. You try to manage time, and the club will provide a supportive environment for you to develop. You try anything. If you are not doing a good job, you will not feel uncomfortable. You learn something from it, and you will go from there. And obviously leadership. Here are a few renowned ToastMasters I got from. Same first one, Chris Matthews of MSNBC, and there are quite a few other female and home improvement. And probably everyone likes those who are Star Trek fans. Mr. Spock used to be a Toastmaster, and there are thousands of others. For the regular ToastMasters Club, the fee is very simple. When you join, $65 for 6 months, and then you pay $65 every 6 months. In some clubs collect another fees for running the business of the club, which is nominal, 10 to 15 months for 6 months. So it's very cheap, I think. And here some contact information about ToastMasters. The top one is for the ToastMasters.org, is the ToastMasters International. The second one is for our District 37, that covers the state. And the bottom one, TechTalk.toastmasterclubs.org, that's our club website. So, parents, if you are interested in joining our ToastMasters Club, here is our address at the bottom. And for the children, we'll be talking to you more. We'll be coming here when we start the youth leadership program. And this concludes the brief summary of the ToastMasters. However, I'd like to mention a little bit about the youth leadership program. It's normally 8 weeks long. We meet once a week. Probably run for an hour. They are recommending 1 to 2 hours. But I suggest we be running it for 1 hour. Participants, they recommend 10 to 15. I extend that 10 to 20. And somewhere I saw, Jamie, it could be up to 25. So it will be up to the coordinator to determine how many participants or students can be in a class. If the coordinator has some assistance, probably we can go up to maximum of 25 students. And as the third bullet shows, participants will learn all those things that I mentioned that we learn in the regular ToastMasters meeting. Any question on this? Well, we'll have plenty of time later on to ask questions. And when you complete that 8-week program, what are you going to do? You can start a Gable club. Fee is very little, very nominal. And the requirement for a Gable club is you've got to be under 18, that qualifies our young people. Or if you are over 18, you've got to be unemployed. If you are employed, you'll have to go to regular club. And you'll have to charter your own club, and there are a lot of formalities, which we'll talk about after we finish the youth leadership program. So that's all I had for the ToastMasters introduction. Now, how a ToastMasters club is run. It looks like I'm going to be ToastMaster also for that. Okay. The regular ToastMasters club, this is the condensed version of regular ToastMasters club. So, to think yourself that you are watching the meeting of a regular ToastMasters club. In the youth leadership program, they will have something similar to you. So looking at your agenda, second bullet, a ToastMaster. To start, well, before that, we like to, do you have an agenda? What's your name? No? Okay. Would you please, there's a button, we said the mission of the club. Would you please stand up and read the 3 lines here?
The mission of a ToastMasters Club. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth.
Thank you. You have given your first ToastMaster speech. We like to build self-confidence, and that allows us to grow professionally. That's what the communication leadership is all about. And we read this mission in every meeting, just to remind ourselves why we go to a ToastMasters meeting. Build our self-confidence and grow professionally. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce a few functionaries who will be helping me in running the meeting. First, channel evaluator. Brenda, what will you be looking for? What is your role, please?
Mr. Toastmaster,
Hello, young friends and parents. I'll be looking at how the meetings run, the time of the speeches and the roles, and give a feedback end of the meeting about the meeting.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Next, we like to time everything in Toastmasters meeting. And Jamie is going to be keeping our times. Jamie, would you please explain what we'll be looking for?
Mr. Toastmaster, as a timer of the meeting, I will be time each speech given by the prepared speaker as well as the table topics speeches, including the evaluation part. For the prepared speech, the speech is going to be 5 to 7 minutes. So at 5 minutes, the green light will come on. And at 6 minutes, halfway through, the yellow light will come on. At 7 minutes, that's the maximum number allowed for the speech, the red light will come on. And the light will stay on until the speaker finishes the speech. Typically, as a speaker, when you see the red light comes on, you want to wrap up your speech in 1 or 2 sentences.
Thank you, thank you. The next functionality is a grammarian. Let's follow our grammar. Are you speaking in correct English? And that role will be served by our Area 73 Director, Prashant Joshi. Would you please explain your role? Thank you, Mr. ToastMaster. Now we are going to go to serious business, speaking part of it. We are going to have a speaker give a 5 to 7 minutes long speech, and that speech will be evaluated by one of our Toastmasters. Do you want to say anything about the evaluation of his speech?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster, thank you. I'll be evaluating Jonathan's speech today, and what I'm going to do is try to use a consolidation of the lessons that we teach in the Competency Communication Methods.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. So, are you ready to hear a speech?
Yes.
Okay. Our speaker this morning, still morning, good, is Jonathan Ford. Jonathan is a new member of our club. He joined our TechTalk ToastMasters Club 6 months ago, given quite a few speeches, but he is normally a very good speaker. Even he is new. So this morning he's going to talk about Toastmasters. The title of his speech is Why I Joined Toastmasters. Why I Joined Toastmasters. Jonathan Farber.
What a wonderful microcosm of people gathered here today. What I wanted to talk to you guys about was a little bit of my journey to get to Toastmasters, a little bit of my background, how it's benefited me, and how I think it can benefit all of you folks. There's a funny quote from someone you guys may be familiar with. His name is Mark Twain. And he says, there's 2 types of speakers in the world, the nervous and the liars. And I guess I decided that I didn't want to be nervous anymore, and I needed to become a little bit of a better liar. A little bit about myself. I grew up in New York, Long Island. Any Northeasterners here? Or New Yorkers? Okay, done. I went to Hofstra University, and I grew up on Long Island. I played golf at Hofstra University, and that's where I was first introduced to public speaking. I had seen classmates present, and I had seen some of my favorite professors do great jobs captivating audiences. And I always had this inner thought that looked really good, and that there were some people that did it really well, and they always had a little bit of an aura around them. And it was something that I really did admire. And as I got a little bit older, I had the chance to do a little bit of speaking at my school, Hofstra, that means. And what that meant was I got to talk to different groups of student athletes. Like I said, I played golf, and I started teaching a course that had to do with getting hired in different types of jobs outside of college without applying. And it grew and grew, and I went from smaller rooms to bigger rooms into rooms of 300, 400, 500 people. And I started to think to myself, one, how did I get here? Two, am I really doing a good job conveying the right messaging? It seemed to me that it was one of those things where you can be doing it a lot, and unless you're getting graded on it or critiqued, it's tough to always know how good a job you're doing, if you're really connecting with your audience, if that messaging is really making an impact. So that's when I decided I wanted to start actually improving and seeing if there are any ways I could get better. And that was when I had come down to Raleigh, and I was doing a little bit more speaking down at NC State, and I saw some of the bigger groups, and I realized there was a really cool opportunity. My company, not one that I founded, but the company I work at, is called NetApp. It's in RTP, and I saw one day on a board outside the bathroom there was a poster for a club called ToastMasters. I did not know what it was, but I did hear from a couple different folks in my company that they had participated in ToastMasters, and they credited their speaking abilities and their speaking skill to the club. And I'm not talking about anyone. I'm talking about the most well-known or even famous people within the company, the CEO, the executives for the Americas, amazing speakers, and they all credited ToastMasters to this club. One of them I happen to know, and he would always tell me, yeah, it's an amazing group. When I asked him about it, and he would tell me that if he didn't have it, he would have never been on stage. Even a small example, I just got back from my conference with the company in Las Vegas, and every single executive got up on stage and delivered incredible messaging. Messaging that was inspiring, informative, and really just captivating. So I digress a little bit further back to now I'm back at RTP and wanted to join and become a Toastmaster, see what the club is all about. And I realized that a lot of people, one, did not like speaking, but really did not, again, have that chance to practice. And that's what I found out really quickly about Toastmasters. You go your first time, as you're seeing a practice meeting today, and every time you speak, you're graded, you're timed, you're analyzed, and you can really make improvements. You don't have to take that risk where the first time you're actually giving a speech, the thought that comes into your head as you're coming on stage, wow, I wish I would have practiced this. That's not a feeling I like too much. I like to have a little bit of preparation and know that you can do a good job. I think you guys would probably agree, that's not a good feeling to have. So, I've been a Toastmaster for 6 months. I've done a couple speeches, and the benefits have already shown in my day-to-day life, more than I would have guessed. In my job, I do a lot of presenting, from groups of 3 to 5 to groups of 20 to 25. And the ones that know I'm doing this in my office, they know that I've become a little bit of a stickler for filler words. And if I hear people with the ums or the likes or the you knows, they know that I'm counting in my head. And you guys might be doing that after today as well. It becomes a good little habit. But you notice who's a good speaker, who doesn't use these filler words, who doesn't do that, and maybe they're in a position of power that either they've practiced or it's just a natural skill. This takes me into the next segment. How can this benefit you guys? What is the true skill that you guys can gain from this, okay? And there were a few things that came to mind, is that some of you may have different goals. Some of you guys are obviously a little younger than me, then there's some older than me in this group as well. you can always keep improving. And there's always areas of improvement that you can use in your job, maybe in your house, maybe amongst your peers. And at every level I found you can be admired for. There's a level of, there's a stigma around people that are good speakers, that they're just natural leaders. And this can come at a young age. This is something I wish I would have started at a younger age. For the parents in the room, I wish I would have started at a younger age. And I don't think learning ever stops. You're not too old if you're already, a parent. I think you can always keep learning, keep developing. It's great in the corporate world. Here's the other thing I noticed about speaking and conveying the right messaging, is that it's a sad but true fact, the best ideas don't always win. A lot of times it's the ideas that are conveyed the best or communicated the best. So guys, if you have a great idea and you want to get recognition for it, or you want it to be known that it's the best idea, you need to be able to communicate it well and let the world know that you have the best idea. I don't know if anyone watches, what's the show with Mark Cuban? Shark Tank, right? I think half of that show is about conveying the right idea and pitching the right idea. I mean, hey, that's a lot of money on the line if you guys maybe want to become rich one day. I don't know. Couple calls to action before we close. One, do you think right now you are the best communicator you can be? Do you think you're the best speaker you can be? Do you think you can't get any better at speaking or communicating or conveying your messaging? If not, I think ToastMasters is a great way to practice that skill and see if you can improve. The last thing I'll say is this: you can always improve. I'm 23. I don't even think I'm scratching the surface, but my parents, my mom, for example, she's always had a terrible fear of public speaking. My brother's wedding is coming up this August. She has made it her mission to give a toast, to give a speech. I have to give one as well, but I don't know if I'm as scared as she is. Maybe I'm a better liar, as Mark Twain said. But that's the idea here. We're here to get better. I'm not going to say her age. I don't know if she'd like that. But she realizes she can always get better. She's taking the steps. She's going to a ToastMasters meeting. Learning never stops. I feel confident now that in a couple months, she will be able to deliver an awesome toast, an awesome speech on behalf of her son who's getting married. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan, for that inspiring speech to convince our young folks to become better communicators. Jonathan did a number of things, but I'd like to mention one thing. After you finish school, you'll go to college, have a good education, maybe from one of the Ivy League schools. How to get the best job. Pittsburgh Gazette writer, McCoy, forgot his first name, wrote an article about 12 years ago that the companies are looking for people, college graduates, who can communicate well. Those are the people who get hired. So remember, the communication is the most important step to a successful career. Thank you for that speech. Next, we like to go to the interesting segment we call table topics, impromptu speaking. The table topics master will be introducing a topic or ask you a question. We'll come here and give you a 1 to 2 minute response, and he'll explain the additional rules. To conduct this impromptu speaking session, let me welcome Lindsay Habening.
This is when you all get a chance to participate, so you all gotta be awake because I can pick anyone for an answer. Okay, so be warned with this. What's the purpose of table topics? It's practice impromptu speaking. I mean, we've always heard about the 30-second elevator speech, for example. Now, I'm going to ask some general questions. So don't be shy. I'll actually ask for volunteers, so anybody asleep, I guess it's not really an issue. But I'm going to vote for side. Listen, one of the things that I have to mention about table topics.
One thing I am looking at is the time, it's 1 to 2 minutes. And second is you should use word of the day.
That's it. The word of the day. The word of the day is
Microsm.
microcosm. Okay. So it's kind of a little brain teaser. On top of giving a regular answer, I want to try to bring in that word if you can. So again, 1 to 2 minutes. So 1 is going to turn green, and then 1 yellow.
2 minutes, the red light will come up.
And we shoot for the 1 minute to 2.5 minute target. So first question, who here has got grandparents? Anybody not have grandparents? Gotta be. So I'd like you to tell us about them, where they live. Some might be in the country, a different state, different country, and what you like about it. Anybody want to give it a shot before I just pick on somebody?
Okay.
Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Good? Okay, awesome. So I'm here to tell you about my grandmother. She's my dad's mother. And actually she's the only grandparent that I have. So she lives in India, which is really far away from me. I really miss her a lot. And one thing I'd like to tell you about my grandmother is that she's quite old. But she acts like she's a 23-year-old. She acts like she's a 23-year-old. She's actually well into her 70s. And every day that I've met her, or every time that I've talked with her, she just keeps on surprising. She's like, I've been here today with my friends. I've been to this state and I've been to that state, and she's not someone that stays at home very long. She doesn't like staying at home. She is an arthritis patient, but she doesn't stay at home, and she really doesn't like it. She's a very independent woman. She doesn't like to depend on anybody, and that's what I admire about her. So, I really wish she was here today with me to listen to this speech, but I'm very proud of having a grandmother like that. Thank you so much.
Anyone here who doesn't have one of these? Okay. That's where I'm going with my question. So, I think we all like to play games on these iPads. What is your favorite game? Anybody want to tell us about your favorite game? Okay. Come on in. Alex? Excellent, Alex.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I'd like to talk to you about Color Switch. It's this really simple game. I'm sure at least 1 or 2 of you have heard it here in the audience. So, Color Switch is a very simple game. You tap the screen, and whatever your ball or symbol is, it'll start moving upwards on a designated platform. Color Switch, what happens is every time you touch one of these stars, your ball will change color, and the only way you can get past certain barriers is by going through the same color as your ball. Why do I like this game? Well, I really like this game because, very simply, it's simple. There's not much to it, it's just tapping the screen, and there's not many rules to it. It's also very stimulating. You need to know how to pace yourself, how to make sure you're going through the barriers at the right time, and you also need to know how to manage your time, because usually there's a small time limit at the bottom of the screen, and if you don't reach this time limit, you'll die. Second of all, it's free, and I'm sure everybody at least likes something free, correct? So far, it's free and it's stimulating. What else do I like about the game? I like how You don't really have to, I like how you don't have to manage too much of your time. You can just go in and kind of waste your time there. There's a lot of levels, there's a lot of things that you can keep doing. There's always something new that'll come out next month. You'll always have something to go. Finally, I like how there's high scores and how you can compete with your friends. If you really want, you can go head-to-head with one of your friends or maybe somebody from another country, which is really nice with Flow, is that you can just connect with everybody on the internet. Other than that, there's not really much to talk about, and that's why I like Flow.
Anyone with pets? Cats, dogs, hamsters? No? I'll tell you what, we'll get a twist on it. If you could pick any pet your parents would allow, what would be your favorite pet? And I mean, I could be on the box, like, whether it's a tiger or a big giant panda like me, I mean, whatever. If you just let your imagination run wild. So, who would like to tell us about what they would like to have as a pet? You looking for it? Go ahead. Catherine? Excellent, Catherine.
So if I could pick any pet I would choose a unicorn because they're colorful and fun to see, and I like it because it's not real, but like it would like fly. It's like a Pegasus, which is a creature, and I would also like it because it has
What would you feed it?
I would feed it sequels. If I could like it, I would probably take it to a park.
Where would you like to take it for a walk?
If I could take it anywhere in the world, I'd take it probably to Central Park.
I've got one more. Okay. The school here has got excellent teachers. I'm not even a student, I already have my favorite teacher. So I'd like somebody here to tell us about your favorite teacher at the Cary Chinese School. Any volunteers? Nobody has a favorite teacher? Should I pick one? You give it a shot? Yeah, front and center. I'm sorry, your name is Kamal was asking you earlier. Neil, you want to give it a shot? Tell us about your favorite teacher. Okay.
So, my favorite teacher in my normal high school is probably a math teacher named Mr. Susiu. He was my statistics teacher last year, and I really enjoyed his teaching style. He communicated ideas very clearly through various methods such as PowerPoints and his own speaking. And he was a bit of a strict teacher, but that was part of why I liked him so much. He made sure that we learned our material and we learned it well, and some of the things that he's taught has still stuck to me with this day because he ingrained the ideas so well. And he did give a lot of work, but that's another reason why his teaching was so effective, because all the homework he gave us a chance to practice and get better at the mathematical concepts that we learned. So in general, I still have a good relationship with him, and I enjoyed him as a teacher very much, and I hope to take his class someday again.
Sometimes I ask you, 1 to 2 minutes to speak on your feet, to speak in front of an audience. With that, we'll turn it over to our Toastmaster. Come on.
Now we are complete the evaluation portion of our demonstration meeting. Let me request our general evaluator, Linda Kumar.
Toastmaster. This is where we evaluate the meeting and our speakers. This is the section feedback. First, gentlemen call our evaluator for our speaker, Jonathan. My present.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially our speaker tonight, Jonathan. But welcome also, thank you for our students and parents here at the Chinese School. ToastMasters has evaluation as its cornerstone. And as students, what's another term for evaluation that you maybe don't like? Grades? Yeah, grades. Okay. But in ToastMasters, evaluation is about feedback and it's about improvement. And today I want to talk about helping Jonathan to improve his speaking in the future. And in ToastMasters in general, our program is conducted so that we get evaluation, we get feedback on pretty much everything that happens during the meeting, and we can use that feedback to improve. Jonathan presented a wonderful speech, and he presented it based on some of the lessons that are early in the Competent Communicators Manual. For example, lesson 1 is called the icebreaker. And the icebreaker speech is about speaking about yourself. And why? Because it's something that you know very well. That's a well-organized speech. Jonathan had a great presence here. He stood here. He didn't make large hand movements, but he had some hand gestures that he was doing. One of the things that we do in the advanced part, the later part of the communications manual, Jonathan, is we introduce visual aids. And Cabal, our president, club president, and distinguished Toastmaster showed me a couple of weeks ago, about using a prop. So that's one of the things that was one of the most effective visual aids is to use a prop in your presentation. And so I've taken an old sock that has been recently washed and turned it into a puppet. And the reason I'm using the sock puppet, and I think, Jonathan, you can make your point with the sock puppet and some gestures, and also put vocal variety in, and you find that the Toastmasters manual in the later parts are going to have some interesting lessons for you to improve your speaking abilities. And the takeaway from this evaluation, does anybody want the sock puppet? Okay. The takeaway from the evaluation is that I want you to appreciate, listen to the people who are your evaluators, and listen to the evaluations that you get. And from that, listening to the message, find their message and find out how to improve. Madam General Evaluator.
Now I'd like the functionaries report, timekeeper report, Jamie.
Madam General Evaluator, for today's prepared speech, Jonathan gave a speech 9 minutes, 7 seconds. For our table topics, first speaker, Bhumika, 1 minute, 24 seconds. Second speaker, Alex, 1 minute, 48 seconds. Third speaker, Catherine, just under a minute, 58 seconds. Fourth speaker, Neil, 1 minute, 14 seconds. For our evaluator, Mike, 3 minutes and 50 seconds, just above our normal evaluation maximum of 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Thank you, Jamie. Our grammarian Wizard of Oz report.
It's interesting to capture all those filler words. I'm going for everyone, starting with Kamal. I found one arm, one R, 3 so's. Robert, it was a clean job, not a single filler word. Great job. Jonathan, I found 3 arms and 10 ants, which I felt unnecessary, and 2 sows. Lindsay, 2 sows. Mike, 3 arms, 1 arm, 7 ants. I don't know whether ant is the word of the day or what. Bhumika, it's 2 arms, 2 sows, 1 ant. Alex, 1 arm, 6 are. Catherine, 2 arms, 1 sow, 2 ant. Neil, 2 sows, 5 ants. Rita, I want to just started capturing that. She's the skipping. Thank you.
Thank you. Including the time we started this meeting. We started 4 minutes late, and it looks like we might even end about 5 minutes late as well. So normally we start on time and we end on time. We also grade and time our speakers. Jamie, our timer did that today. And Jonathan's speech was 5 to 7 minutes. It was a little over by 9 minutes, but we usually make sure that everybody ends on time so that the meeting can end on time. But wonderful speech by Jonathan. First, Toastmaster Kamal gave an introduction to Toastmasters, and that's very important because we have many people here who don't know what Toastmasters means. And then we followed on with a proper meeting, a sort of a sample of our meeting. Normally we have 3 speakers, we just have 1 speaker, but it gives you a little bit of a sample of what happens at a Toastmasters meeting. We also had Grammarian who gave us a bit of what we're supposed to be looking at today and word of the day. I would only say of the word of the day, it was a little difficult for us to use that word of the day. For an audience like this, maybe a simpler word. That's why it was not used a lot today. But normally we give a word that we can all learn from. It's to improve our grammar and also learn something. How many of you in this room were afraid or are afraid to stand in front of an audience? Anybody afraid? Or were you afraid before? Come on, let's have honest hands here. Right? Yeah, anyone here? Anyone here? Put your hand up. Yes, that's the honest people. Because public speaking, more people, research said that more people are afraid of public speaking than ghosts, earthquakes, hurricanes, and volcanoes. So I'm sure a lot of people are afraid of those, right? So all of your hands should have gone up. But it's because it's not easy. It's not easy to stand in front of people. It may be easy when you're listening to people saying, I can do that. Or you could be saying, I can't do that. It takes practice. Public speaking is a skill, just like riding a bicycle. It takes practice until you learn and you keep on learning. So even if somebody like Kamal, who's been a member of Toastmasters for 25 years, is still learning. And you keep on learning. But you can start now. I wish I could have started when I was 15 or even 10. Unfortunately, it got a bit late. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yes, I still live, yeah. It's any point in time, you can overcome this fear. How can we evaluate Robbie's joke? That was a fantastic joke. Because it just went just to the audience. Always when you give a speech, you must bring it down to the audience. And Robbie did fantastic joke just for this audience. What could I say about Mike's evaluation of Jonathan's excellent speech? Mike ended beautifully with that prop. Again, it draws that tension. It's not effective speaking, it's about not content. You could have a crappy content and deliver it beautifully, just like Jonathan said. Lie, that's fine. We can all lie. But it's easy getting the message through. It's all about delivery, and that's what at Toastmasters we learn techniques to deliver a fantastic speech. Same content by two speakers. It's the delivery that's going to make a difference. And that's what at ToastMasters we learn, how to improve in technique. Different vocal variety. Today we had excellent table topics answers from Bhumika, Alex, and we had two other people, Catherine and Neil. I thought these guys are far better than some of the new guests we have in our Toastmasters, where they walk come in like this and say, hello everybody, I don't know what to say next. I thought our table topics answers were brilliant because they all managed to get to 1 minute. Not every guest come to that, reach that 1 minute. It's excellent. So let's give a big round of applause for that. Very impressed with the answers. You look like going to be confident communicators and leaders. But what do you need to become that? Tell me, what do you need to become a great communicator? Practice, absolutely. Nobody's born a great leader or a speaker. It's practice that gets them there. That's what at Toastmasters we do. Your young lady, Catherine, you gave a great speech. What could she have improved? Maybe a voice projection? Could you hear at the back of the speech? Maybe a little, but all that we learn. It is by practice. When I started as a speaker, people at the back couldn't hear me. Now they're saying I'm too loud. Okay, maybe I need to bring down my voice. But this is the kind of thing we learn at ToastMasters. It was a beauty. The meeting went on really beautifully, and I just hope that we get people to enroll in this program that our principal here has managed to bring on, because when Jamie joined as a member, she just saw the benefits of ToastMasters, and I'm so pleased that she's bringing to these young people, because if you can get young people to become great communicators, imagine what the world would be. I think I would urge you all to consider this new program, because it's changed all our lives. I'm sure all of us will attest to that, because when we make a change, everything changes for us. Toastmasters, I believe, can change your lives. Now, I would like to call to Toastmasters to end the meeting.
Thank you, Brenda, for that inspiring evaluation about the Toastmasters. Normally, Toastmasters meeting, she was saying, should start and end on time. We are a little bit over time. Please forgive us. So that concludes the demonstration meeting of a regular test Toastmaster meeting. And now we are going to propose to you, for the younger folks, how you can benefit for the Toastmasters program. And now Lindsay Hamanian is going to explain to you the youth leadership program. Lindsay.
So you saw table topics earlier. So truthfully, who here feels like they could answer any problem, they could talk about anything to anyone? Yeah, no, I agree. My wife will tell you that wherever I go, nobody's a stranger. I'll know all about them within minutes. So that's something that you all could do. Now, one of the things I know individually we feel like we've got a point where at the end of the day we wish we'd be able to talk to a friend better, a teacher better, or even a parent. It's like, didn't get the point across. So that's what the whole purpose of the youth leadership program is, to give people that practice. So our topic we're proposing is a youth leadership program, and it's a small set, 8 sessions. They say about 1 to 2 hours. I think we're looking at about 1 hour a session. I had handed out, there were handouts with a regular, you guys saw it, they're available, a regular meeting agenda. This is from our club that we had last Thursday. The reason I have them is twofold. One is for the parents. There are a lot of clubs in the area. So if you feel it's something you'd like to try and work on your communication leadership skills, there are tons of clubs. feel free, Tech Talk is one, we're off Kid Creek Road. But the reason I also brought this is that this program is also based on this agenda. Every session, it has a similar structure. And then each session has an objective. It might be impromptu speaking, it might be about public speaking, it might be about listening. Again, my wife will tell you that I'm selective listening, so I got to work on that. The gestures, body language is another one that we have a session on. But each of the 8 sessions has a purpose, and it is created or handled just like a regular meeting. There, if you saw in the back, there are officer roles, president, the president of our club. Same thing would occur with the youth leadership program. Sure.
I've got a brochure, you may not have seen that. The first meeting will form a chairman of the group. You will be actually president. And you will evaluate your current speaking ability. In the second meeting, we'll introduce public speaking. In the third meeting, we'll be introducing impromptu speech. And the fourth one, how to organize your speech. So it will go on a stepwise basis until you finish listening, gesture, voice, vocal variety, and show your skill in the final project. So those are the 8 meetings and overall objectives of each of those sessions.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Kamal. So there's a guide for the coordinators, but there's also a workbook that each of the participants has. And I've got some copies. They're true photocopies. You can actually find them on the net. But if anybody is interested to see what those objectives are and what's going to take place, because I have 10 minutes.
How many will be interested? Do you have any idea how many students will be interested?
I think everyone's here.
So our objective is to get a head count.
Can you get a head count?
And we're looking at starting
So this program for the students, we're going to start in September when the school starts. And it will take the same time as the activity class, so either 11 or 12, go on for 1 hour. And we're looking at students between the age of 10 to 17. And we also, as you see, Lindsay is going to be our coordinator. So he will be helping the group of children to run this program. And we will also have ToastMasters from the local clubs to come on to each meeting. And so this is open to anyone between the age 10 to 17. And it will typically run as the school starts in September, starting at 11 and ends at about 12.
Good.
Yeah, I think we're good. Does anybody
Any
have
questions from anyone? Any question?
About the YLP program, yes.
First, thank you guys for coming. It's really wonderful. So it's really nice. I have one question. How do you guys pick the word of the day?
We assign a grammarian to each of the meetings. And normally we have a theme for the meeting. So the grammarian picks up the word.
There is, the ToastMasters has actually got a deck of cards you can pull from. There are apps. If you take a look, research on the internet, you'll find apps for words of the day. I get lazy. I just go to dictionary.com and look up the word of the day. And the word of the day apologies, that was my choice. That's a defensive
This was
person.
kind of difficult to integrate into the speech, so I was wondering how do you guys pick up?
Yeah, 'cause some of them are easier, some of them are tougher. I agree.
Thank you.
Any other question?
I just want to know if the session is about 8 sessions for the whole semester, or is it going to continue until the end of the semester?
Yeah, we're going to run just as the Chinese school session. So it will, the beginning 8 session is going to be about the youth leadership program. And our expectation is towards the end of the youth leader program, we will start forming a Gavel Club, which is a youth ToastMasters Club. And the club will continue the same format after this program ends.
Well, we didn't want to, we talked forever on the other programs, but we want to get people interested on September 1st. Very good question, though, so it would fill up 13 slots.
Yeah, if you form a Gavel Club at the end of this 8-week period, we will talk about this later. However, they are not called ToastMasters. They are called Gaveliers for the Gavel Club. This is highly subsidized. You pay, I think, a total of $50 for the entire class. And there are a lot of leeway available to the members of the Gavel Clubs. Any other question?
Just wondering, so I think you just mentioned that after 1 year, then they're going to have their own club, and then they're going to operate outside the school, or how they're going to?
After 8 weeks, when we finish the youth leadership program, we will continue the same time slot and the same group, just as a club. So
that's still like throughout the year, and the next year you're going to form a
as
new
long as
one?
we have the club, we will continue this session.
Okay. And then the next year you're going to form a new one?
We don't have to. We can have club members to join any time of the year.
So then the club will just keep growing?
Yeah, the club will have regular meeting every week.
So that's always a club belong to Carrie School?
The club is going to be an affiliated club from the ToastMasters International. Carrie Chinese School is going to sponsor the club, so the club can have the meeting here in our location and during the activity class.
Is that always the case, always here?
If anybody's interested, I've got 10 copies. I know they're just photocopies of the workbook itself and give you an idea of what those 8 sessions are about. It's also available on the net if you search. I know we're not supposed to, but it is out there. When we start the program, of course, we'll buy the actual manuals, but I want to give people an idea of what it's about. So I've got 10 copies. Okay? And then I'll at the very end, yeah, I'll make them available. Guys, anything else? I appreciate the time. I know this has gone over.
Yeah, I want to give a round of applause for our guests from ToastMasters Club.